Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Visitor Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Vargas. This is episode 50. We are going to look back on not a great year, not a great year, not a wonderful year. This was the big, beautiful year. The year of Trump, the year of the dog, the year of Diddy, the year of Alex Earl, Dancing with the Stars. We had excuse me, I'll put that down. I would like to start tonight's episode just reflecting on 2025. I'm 31 years old. I'm a millionaire. I started a podcast. I have had several different investments this year go wrong. I tried to become a TikToker. I tried to become a YouTuber. I've started this podcast and I have failed. I failed a lot. And what failure has taught me is that when you have nothing left, when you're down to just, the brass tacks of it all, you always have yourself, you have your family and friends that care about you, whether you had a dime or didn't have a dime. So one of the hardest things about this year that I had to overcome was getting comfortable with failure again. Thinking that just because I show up and do a podcast, or just because you show up and, you're with your kids, if you're not trying, if you're not present, if you're not worried about giving it your all, and so what if you fail? You will never, ever, ever be successful. And I was listening to this podcast. His name was Rick Rubin. I listened to a couple different podcasts of his. So Rick Rubin was this producer who produced music for Jay-Z. He produced music for... Rick Rubin was a famous music producer who was known for his creative genius, being able to spot music in all genres. He could do anything from the Red Hot Chili Peppers to Jay-Z, Linkin Park. Like, Rick Rubin was able to find and discover a ton of bands and also produce them creatively. So I was listening to all these podcasts, and I've been listening to a lot of podcasts actually that are like not self-help books, but Diary of a CEO, episodes about music and creativity or just marketing, how to do a podcast better, how people that are experts in the fields that I want to be expert in, staffing or sales, I listen to all sorts of things I listen to these podcasts with the purpose of getting a different perspective on everything. I want to see it all from a different angle. I want to hear creativity from not only a marketing genius of Nike, I also want to hear from a guy who produces music. I want to hear from people who have created art and not just material success in business or an entrepreneur. I want to hear about people who have done amazing things in their field that might not be in the field that I'm in, if that makes sense. And so I'm kind of been gathering inspiration from all these different thought leaders. One thing that I found interesting in Rick Rubin's podcast with Diary of the CEO, or Jay Shannick, one of the guys, I think it was Jay Shetty, said that when he was recording with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, they did a number of different songs and they'd made albums before, but they never liked recording in a music studio. They never liked it. They said it was uncomfortable. The band had to show up. Everybody was kind of just watching the clock, waiting to leave. And they had done multiple different songs from different takes. And he was like, well, let's try this a little differently. How about we turn the lights off on this take and see if we can go again? So he discovered that when doing all these takes, they would go and they would fail and they would fail. They wouldn't like the song. They would tweak it, but they could only tweak it so much and it would stall out. And he said, okay, let's do the take differently. Let's do the take with the lights off. And they're like, okay, like whatever that's going to do. That way, they're not looking at each other. They don't see the music producers as much. They turn the lights off really low. And so this was pretty much the first take they did in the dark with no big stage lights or fluorescent lights. And what they discovered by doing this was it was not their third or seventh take of the song that wasn't going so hot. It wasn't their third or seventh take of the song that they had played many times before. It was the first take they did in the dark. By completely changing their atmosphere, their environment, the way they did things, it gave them a new perspective on the song and how to make it. It reframed their perspective on the art at the time. So I found that to be quite interesting. Eventually, Red Hot Chili Peppers, they did start recording their albums outside of a studio. They rented a house. They found out that in the house, the band got to feel more comfortable. They had family members there, girlfriends, whatever, and people wouldn't leave. They would stay there until the album was done. Nobody wanted to miss anything because there were so many hot moments going on, and there were so many. There was different styles. They talked about in another podcast, Diary CEO, of when he had guests come on to his podcast, he would play music for them. He'd find out what songs they liked or what bands they liked. And when they walked in the room, there would be a different song playing for them. He would find out like a scent or a smell that reminded them of their childhood home, something weird like that. And what you found was you get such a different result when people feel comfortable. And when you feel like you're in an environment that's safe to create, it makes a world of difference. So getting on camera at the beginning of this year was scary as shit. I hated it. I didn't like going on camera, but now I'm way more comfortable with it. I just had to find a setup that I enjoyed and, work with the lighting situation that I had versus spending $40,000 on amazing lighting when, I'm still kind of perfecting my content. I had never done this before. I had never looked at self-help or, books about betterment or, things that I never invested in the field of which I liked, like I have this year, and humbled myself to be like, shit, all right, just because you do it doesn't make you great. Just because you have a little bit of talent and people think you're funny doesn't mean you're automatically going to excel at it. So I have dug in the books a bit. And what I found is that I started to feel more confident the more I learned and the more I heard from other people and their failures, not their successes, but like figured out that we all had similar flaws in the same art and this idea of the progression of it all. And it's just been it's been an interesting journey. I got good at TikTok this year. I found out what TikTok is. TikTok is just basically, it's a blockbuster. We thought Netflix was our blockbuster. We thought, getting the movies from the VHS and DVDs from the Redbox was one thing. And then we got Netflix online. But really what TikTok had become was this huge genre-filling video media site where you could find music, you could find games, you could find anything that your little mind is interested in. And it's more based on the independent creator and independent media. And I found that incredibly fascinating. I planned on doing TikTok for a long time. I got into YouTube. I did my first vlog on YouTube. And I realized that I can't grow on a podcast if I solely come on here and talk about myself. If this is just a diary, I'll get a couple followers, people who are interested in my life, sure. But I have to loop in ideas and thoughts of what's going on around me. And I turned this away for a while. I used to talk about Trump a lot in the beginning of my podcast. And I don't know if I'd lost some friends that I did, because I don't think I really had them anyway. If the friendship was that frail that they would walk away from me just because I made fun of our dictator, our Führer, the Trump. But I did start bending kind of what I like to talk about because of my fans or because of the peers that had listened to the show. And so this year, I'm going to go back to talking about what I want to talk about on a more regular basis, because that's one thing I learned from the Rick Rubin podcast was art, if it matters to you, it'll matter to everybody. But if it doesn't matter to you, people can see right through that. It's not going to be genuine. So that's probably one of the bigger takeaways that I got. Secondly, I tried to be like other podcasters I'd seen. I tried to be like Theo Vaughn. I tried to be like, Joey Diaz. And that's what you do. I was mimicking other people's styles. And you just can't do that if you want to be authentic. So I feel going into 2026, so much more confident about this art form, so much more dedicated. Story on the failure. The show I used to love, Smallville, where Lex Luthor was talking to Clark Kent as they were friends. And he was talking to him about some god, some Greek mythology person, which I looked up on ChatGPT. I don't think it's a real person. But basically, the story was every time this god was molded by the earth. He came from the dirt, from the roots, the grass. He was of the earth, basically. And every time he would fight with this other giant or this other god in this great battle, where everything was at stake, he would get hit, he would get defeated because he was weaker and smaller, and he didn't have the same tools as the other god. So they would wrestle, and the god would throw him down to the earth. But every time he got thrown down to the earth, he became even stronger because he was from the earth. So without realizing it, he could not be defeated because every time he was hit, he just got sent back to the earth. He felt his roots get stronger. He got tougher. He got more earth inside of him or on him, and he just kept getting back up stronger and stronger. So I don't know where I was going with this podcast. So I learned a lot this year, and I learned the most valuable lesson of that. You have to be authentic, you have to be yourself, and you have to keep trying to fail, because every failure actually makes you stronger. And a lot of people who get hurt don't realize that. They don't realize that their pain actually teaches them quite valuable lessons. But anyway, I digress. In honor of this year, we could do a montage of Trump. We could do a montage of his lackeys. If you saw the Vanity Fair article, I thought that was really cool. Vanity Fair did this thing where they made Trump's lackeys. They got them like his Vanity Fair photo shoot. It was supposed to be really nice and make them look so powerful and stoic and cool. But everything that the photographer did in the lighting was quite literally the opposite. And if you know anything about film or photography, which I've learned from this podcast, lighting, how much goes into the lighting, oh my God. You can fuck up a shot. You can fuck up an angle on accident. And if you know what you're doing, you can definitely fuck it up on purpose. And they fucked their shit up. Who is the little orc lady who comes on there with her cross pendant? Caroline Levitt. God, that girl. That is a hateful. I don't like to say it a lot, but she is a nasty little woman. A nasty, rotten little piggy. And Caroline's there. She has her 28 like lip injections, which they highlight and contrast to make darker. And everybody's now saying it's some sort of herpes or something, that it's too much to be lip injections. There's definitely something going on with her rotten little lips. And they made the other guy, Rubio. It was all of Trump's cabinet. They pretty much just tore them apart, like made them look super small and frail, grotesque, Not that they need help doing that, but it was pretty cool to see that. I was like the resistance. If you guys have been watching Drunk Trump, he has been getting up there. He did the Patriot Games, where there will be one boy and one girl from every district of the United States. If this pleases Lord Trump, you will be selected to fight to the death. I don't know if they're going to fight to the death, but I don't know what the Patriot Games are, like what that like. Will President Trump be up there like watching them like fight it out at his feet? Are they going to do a race? I mean, it's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. This administration is beyond words. Like, I think now it's harder to make fun of Trump, and it's easier to go after the people who would still support this man, the people who still support his beliefs. That's the hard thing to separate and have to acknowledge, is that there are a lot of people who love what he's doing. There are people who love to watch these pregnant women being thrown to the ground, children ripped from their homes. Like, there are a lot of Trump supporters out there who are still like, yeah, this is what we voted for. And it's hard to watch. But this is America. This is not the first bad president we've had. This is by far the worst. Who knows if he leaves office? He could molest children, sleep with underage women, rob a bank, kill a person, string up somebody on the streets and burn them. Like, nobody would care. We're not going to do anything about it. So I think that part of the year has definitely been quite a damper, but Recently, my Baltimore Ravens, baby. The Baltimore Ravens are going to the playoffs. Mark my words. This Sunday, I will be attending the game. So if you're out there, hit me up. New England Patriots, Baltimore Ravens. Shout out, Mama. She was able to get me some tickets. I was like, Mom, would you get me, Mom, would you get me some tickets to the Ravens game? She's like, well, yes, Pumpkins, anything you want. But no, my mom is cool. I know I could ask her for anything. I try to keep it at just like the essentials, like new Xbox games or money for my pot. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. But no, I was trying to butter her up a little bit. So I was like, maybe we should give some tickets to these Ravens games. So Caitlin and I are going to go out there and see those Ravens. We're going to see them Ravens play. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. I'm so excited. It's an 8:30 game. It's at night. Lamar Jackson, he is 15-0 in the last 3 weeks of the season. For those of you who don't watch sports, that means that Lamar Jackson has not lost a game at the end of the season in 15 consecutive games played. So I'm pretty excited. I think that we do stand a good chance to win out. All we have to do is beat the Steelers at the end of the year. Beating the Patriots will help us, especially if the Steelers continue to lose. So we can lose one of the next 2 games. Okay, Baltimore's road to the playoffs. I'm going to tell you this right now. I learned it today. Baltimore controls their destiny if they win out. Baltimore on option number 2. We can lose to A, the New England Patriots this upcoming weekend, or B, we can lose to the Green Bay Packers the next weekend. We can only lose one of those games. If we lose 2, the chances are really slim that we make playoffs. At the end of the season, we play the Pittsburgh Steelers. We must beat them. Pretty much in any scenario, we have to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. The only good thing we have on our side is that Aaron Rodgers is getting older by the day. So hopefully by the time we end up playing Pittsburgh, he'll be pretty old, and we can hopefully count him out. But yeah, man. I want to speak personally on Lamar Jackson. I know Lamar. I'm good friends with Lamar. I've met him a bunch. He's a good friend of mine. And I got to tell you, I don't think he likes playing in Baltimore. I don't think he likes playing, not just for the organization. I don't think he likes playing with the ownership. I think they've disrespected him time and time again by not giving him the receivers he wants or needs. And I think separating him from the people that he likes, Isaiah Likely, Mark Ingram, all these, the guys that he plays well with, doesn't seem to be a factor for the Ravens ownership. Like the Ravens ownership, Steve Bisciotti runs very much by the numbers, law of averages. We like to go just above, keep it at 80% for the franchise because they're playing a long game as billionaires do. Lamar's not going to be there forever. So the ownership knows they just can't, they're not going to invest everything in Lamar Jackson and risk having these horrible seasons, kind of like the Kansas City Chiefs are experiencing right now. Not to say we had a better season, but I think if the Ravens can do anything this year, this is very similar to our 2012 saga. We did not have easy win games. We played the Denver Broncos on a stretch where that game was like 42 to 38. Jacoby Jones had a breakaway touchdown at the end of the game. There were so many Hail Marys back and forth, just like what we've talked about earlier in adversity. You need to go through some adversity to win a Super Bowl. If you just play out and you're the god of gods, that's rare. Tom Brady can do that, but it teaches the team a better lesson if they actually have to fight for it. If they are down and come back and win a game, if they've done that before, wow. Well, then that failure, it turns out it wasn't a failure. It was a lesson, and they showed that they can surpass it. So I'm really hoping for a big weekend. Please, Lamar, please win this weekend. If you don't win this weekend, I'm going to cry. Showing up in the 48-degree cold. And just I'm super excited to see you, man. So please do your best. Do your best. I'll be there watching. If you want to hook me up with some backstage tickets or something to get us on them VIP seats with the Ferrari leather, I'd like to do that. But yeah. It's Christmas, everybody. It's Christmas. I hope you've done your Christmas shopping. I think I'm just about done. We came pretty prepared this year. I hadn't been prepared in previous years, but I feel pretty good about my shopping. This is my fifth or sixth year with Katie, and she has made me not only a better husband, but a better father. She's made me a better shopper. Katie, my wife, is a shopaholic. If you don't know, my wife she will shop on her phone, her MacBook. She'll shop at work. She'll shop on her way home. She talks about shopping. She makes lists when she doesn't have money to buy things. She will talk about what she wants to buy. It's really unfortunate that my wife didn't want to make a lot of money because she has very high aspirations in terms of or what she needs. My baby ain't cheap. So for somebody who wants to be a stay-home mom, her budget is very high. So daddy has to work very hard to keep mommy happy. And you know what? She's worth it. She's worth it. And that was a no-brainer. So I have been working hard this year to try to buy my baby everything my baby wants, my baby gets. If you want to be a good husband, you make sure to just show up for your lady. So besides the material, I have to be present with her. I have to show up every day and show her I care and listen and do all those things that good husbands do. Not easier said than done for sure, but it can be done. But yeah, guys, I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I think thinking back to some Christmases, this is by far one I'm looking forward to. I feel so happy and blessed to have my daughters, to have my family who's kind of been through ups and downs together, but through it all, it seems like we have been able to stick by each other, and it means a lot. This next year, my goal is just to spend less time with friends, more time with family, much less time at bars, more time at home, no karaoke unless it's with the kids. If I go out, I'm just going to go out with my wife and, just try to be a good little boy. Just be a good little boy. Oh, there was one show that came out, Pennywise. Producers, can we pull that up? Yeah. Welcome to Derry. This show was impressive. It's HBO. So HBO's writing is off the charts. Netflix, there's some good stuff on Netflix every now and again, but there's no writers like the ones at HBO. HBO carries it. Cinematography can only take you so far, just like podcasting, just like media. If you don't have a good concept, if you can't orate, if you can't get your ideas on paper, wow, my arms look good there. It's never going to be good. But HBO, Welcome to Derry. It's about the It books by Stephen King. And basically, it's your fears who come alive. This being from another dimension has flown down to Earth, lands in Derry, the home of Paul Bunyan. I think it's in Rhode Island. Was it Rhode Island? Derry, Rhode Island? Derry, Connecticut? It's in Maine. Derry is, in Maine, in this town. I don't know if it's real or not, but basically comes to Earth, takes forms of things that scare you the most because it lives off your adrenaline. So the more scared you are, the better you taste. Something like that is kind of the theory. And it sounds disturbing, but the Pennywise clown, little Pennywise, today, tomorrow, Pennywise does not know. If you have a good chance to watch the Welcome to Derry, if you're into some horror and just good writing, that's been one of my favorite shows. So I just finished watching that. Christmas movies. If you're looking for a good Christmas movie, Turbo Man is one I showed my wife for the first time with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's Ring the Bells. I think it's Jingle All the Way is what it's called. Jingle All the Way is great. What else have we watched? The Christmas Ring. That was pretty good. Pretty gay, but pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. Don't have much to talk about. It's been hard. Podcasting has been hard. TikToking has been hard, especially through the holidays. I will be taking us on a journey next year, and I think I've kind of mastered my craft enough now where I think I can go back to having guests, and I want to find more people to take on the pod. But that's pretty much it. We've gone over shows. We've gone over Lamar Jackson. I don't know what else we need to cover. Personal experience. Love my children. I don't know. Life. Don't have much to write home about at the moment. That's the problem with just doing these solo podcasts sometimes. But I love you guys. I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas. I might take a break next week. If not, we will talk to each other closer to the New Year's. I am coming up on my 1 year anniversary of podcasting, so I want to do a special episode with that, maybe bringing on multiple guests, people that we've had on before, or at least, maybe trying a new format here. But thank you guys. God bless America. God bless our troops. Thank you for watching.